Hi guys, so today we're going to be making this really cool salt painting. These are two that I actually created earlier today just so you can see. They actually kind of look like crystals. They're really cool. It is actually a art and science experiment. So this is something that will really bring those two subjects together. We are going to need a few extra supplies from the previous videos that we've been doing. So you are going to need some kind of cardboard like this is right here. Just something sturdy. You could use construction paper as well, but something sturdy because we are going to be using a lot of different things on here. You are going to need a pencil to draw your picture, some glue, a bottle of glue, some salt, since this is a salt painting, any salt will do. Okay, you also are going to be painting this, so we're going to need some either watercolor paint, of course a paintbrush, and a cup of water. But if you don't have any watercolor paint at home, you could also use food coloring like this is right here. The really cool thing about the food coloring is on the back, it actually shows you different ways to make colors. It tells you how many droplets to put of each one. We'll go over that more a little bit later. So what we want to first do, we want to make our design. Now the two designs that I made on here are very simple designs. You want to keep it simple with this since we are going to be tracing our drawing with glue. If you did go and put something that was a lot more detailed, or there's a lot of tiny little things like faces and characters, it's going to be a little bit harder and it could get a little bit messy. So I'm going to start a new one. I'm just going to get a little piece of construction paper right here. And for this one, I'm going to make a jellyfish. Like I said, I'm going to keep it very simple. So to start out my jellyfish, I'm just going to draw a rainbow line across, and I'm going to make a wavy line going around. Okay, once I have my top of my jellyfish, I'm going to put just some little polka dots on him to give it a little bit of decoration. Okay, and then of course we need our tentacles. So I'm going to put 5 tentacles, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, just some wavy lines. That is pretty much it. Like I said, we're going to keep our drawing very simple today. So the next thing that we want to do, we're going to take our bottle of glue. It could be any type of glue, any brand. It could be the clear glue. It doesn't really matter. What we're going to do, we are actually going to trace over everything that we drew with our glue. So we do need to make sure that we are being very careful with this. Like I said before, this could get very messy very quickly. So when you are tracing over your drawing, you don't want to squeeze the bottle really hard. Once it's coming out a little bit, like it's going to start coming out right here, I'm just going to try to keep the same pressure, and I'm just going to follow my hand. I am moving my hand at the same time that I am moving my bottle of glue. If you need to stop at a corner and pick it up, you move your thumb and you pick it up. This is a great fine motor skill to do with little ones, but anybody can do this. So you trace everything on here. So I'm just gonna finish tracing all of my drawing of my little jellyfish. Like I said before, guys, you can draw anything you want to, but with the jellyfish, we can actually blend colors really easily to make this salt drawing. Sand drawing's different. To make this salt painting. So I'm gonna do this really cool jellyfish. All right, almost done here. Okay, so once we are done tracing everything with our glue, now it's time for the salt. Okay, again, any type of salt will do. I'm just gonna take the salt and I want to cover the whole thing in salt. I don't want anything, any glue to be showing anymore. Okay, so of course try to make sure that mom, dad, grandpa, grandma have extra salt that you can use, but usually we do. Okay, so I want to cover everything with salt. Okay, once I know that everything is completely covered, it is important to make sure that you have either a plate, a bowl, the trash can, something near you to catch the excess, the extra salt that we have. So all I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna take my plate and I'm going to carefully dump over any extra salt that I have. So I'm gonna carefully go and dump it over. I'm gonna shake it a little bit to make sure that all the salt came off. Okay, oh, there's some extra little ones right there. All right, so that's it for this first part. Now, the only thing is that we need this to dry. So I'm gonna pause for a little bit, wait maybe an hour or two for it to dry, then we'll come back and we will do the second part of this video, which is the painting. Now that our salt painting is nice and dry, it's actually crackling a little bit. Now it's time for the painting part, which is where the science comes in. So again, we need some kind of paint. Watercolor paint would be the best kind to use. Or if you don't have any, like I had said before, food coloring like this right here, it comes in little bottles usually. If you take a cup of water, little cup of water, and put a few little drops of this in there, you can get watercolor for this very easily. So when we're first going to get started on it, since I said this was a science experiment, we are going to be painting this jellyfish, but we're not really going to be painting that much. Of course, usually when we paint, we go back and forth and we make sure everything looks good. But since we have salt on here, salt will actually absorb the water and absorb the paint. So you're gonna see when we first start and we put even a tiny little drop onto our jellyfish, it's actually going to spread out across anything that is white, anything that's covered in salt. So of course, guys, remember the main thing with watercolor is that these right here are semi-moist. If I touch them, they're not wet. So I want to make sure that they are wet. So I'm just going to take my cup of water with my brush, and the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put a couple of little droplets on my paint palette, and I'm going to stir it around. I want to see a puddle in my paint. That tells me that I'm mixing and making my paint. So I'm going to zoom in so we can see exactly what I'm talking about with this really cool experiment. So again, I'm just going to take the paint and I'm just going to tap it on here so you can see all the cool purple spreading out on here. So again, I can do really any colors that I want to. I'm not going to be pressing down. I'm just going to be taking my paint and I'm going to press it on here. I'm just tapping it very lightly. I'm going to be tapping exactly on here. So I'm going to do the, like I said, I'm going to mix up some colors. So I'm going to do the top of my little jellyfish here, some purples. Okay, but I want to change it up a little bit, and I'm gonna add some blue in there to really get different colors. Okay, so you can see really cool colors that are blending in there. Okay, well, I'm gonna speed this up a little bit so you can see me finish this jellyfish painting. Alright guys, so there you have it, a really cool salt painting that we have done. Of course, we need to let that dry because it is wet paint right now. But again, you can do any type of design that you want to. Again, my advice, keep it simple. Some things to remember when you're using watercolor paint is to make sure that you put a lot of water into your pans right here. And of course, take your time. Can't wait to see what y'all come up with. See y'all next time. Bye.